Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my 31 week bump date. Not a whole lot going on this week. I did dye my hair. It still has a ton of toner in it as of now, like if you see all that. That will wash out with time, but I'm feeling pretty good about my new hair. I'm typically always like super blonde, but I kind of wanted to try like the balayage look for a little while, and I do like it, but it kind of just grows out into that balayage look. So it's kind of what my plan is for postpartum with baby, because you know, after you have baby, you don't have time to go get your hair done and stuff. So it's kind of my plan is dye it now, let it grow out into like a balayage kind of look, and then just keep doing the same process. You will most likely in this video hear my children outside of the door. Baby is grumpy. We are going to be going on a play date very shortly, but I wanted to make this video because it's my Friday video that should have been out on Monday, but I like swapped my videos. So I need to make it. So I have a video for Friday, my original upload day. So bear with me. Oh my gosh, do you guys see the hair on that? This is on my fridge, and the husky hair it literally goes everywhere. So I am gonna go ahead and go off of the questions kind of that I did last week when I did a collaboration with Jordan. I like the idea of the questions. I never thought about that. So I am going to just kind of go off of that. How am I feeling? I am feeling very pregnant now. As most of you know, like, I haven't really felt like super pregnant. This has been one of my best pregnancies, but now that I'm like getting towards the final weeks, I'm definitely feeling it a lot more. I'm definitely showing a lot more. So yeah, overall I'm feeling okay though. I have been having some weird things, like meat and stuff has been smelling like rotten, like raw meat smells rotten, and just certain weird things. I don't know if it's pregnancy related or post seasickness related from September. I heard that it could be related to that, like a long-term thing that happens like later. I don't really know. We'll see if it continues. I think it might just be a pregnancy thing as long as it doesn't like get worse. How is baby? Baby is good. I haven't had an ultrasound or anything since my last update, but as far as I know, baby's good. She's passing all her kick counts and moving. She has kind of slowed down a little bit, but not anything concerning. I can still easily get my 10 kicks in an hour, and I can normally get her to move pretty easily if I just kind of poke on her and drink something cold or sweet. She's definitely loves sweets. Size of baby, on my app it said something about like asparagus. I always think the food things are funny because I'm like, asparagus could really vary, you know, like you can get a big like bushel or a smaller one. So it's just kind of funny to me, like when you compare babies to like veggies and fruits. Because it just does not seem accurate depending on where you live or how big the fruit is or the veggie. Maternity clothes, I'm still kind of in that limbo. I am wearing maternity leggings. Actually, I think I might even be in the same outfit, but this is just a normal like athletic shirt from Walmart. I just size up, so I normally wear like a large or an extra large, so I've just been buying 1X, and things are fitting fine, and I feel like they'll be comfy for postpartum and all of that. How am I sleeping? I am still not sleeping the best, but I do feel like I'm not doing that middle of the night wake up and staying up for as long, and I'm typically, like this week, it's only happened once. But in all honesty, once 5 a.m. hits, if that wake up time happens, I just stay up for the day, because if I go back to sleep, I've noticed I get really grumpy and irritable with my kids. And so I try my best to avoid that. Best moment this week. I've had lots of really good moments. But but I don't really know. Nothing like major. My best moment, I guess, would be my new car that I got. That is really exciting. That's definitely probably the best moment for me. It's not really baby related, but in a way it is, because when we were trying to figure out so our old car was a Yukon XL and it had bench seats, and Ben had to be on one side and then my oldest son in the middle, and then the one seat had to be up so the other kids could get in the back. And we were planning on just moving Noah to the back and putting baby in Noah's spot. But when we tried to do like the base and click the car seat in and stuff, it's really unfeasible. It's so far over, like lifting her up and way over. And if we do Ben on the opposite side, I'd have to be climbing in, and there's a high chance that I might have to have a repeat C-section. I am going for a VBAC. I'm actually going to talk about my birth plan at the end of this video. But with that said, because the future is unknown, I just did not think that was going to be feasible to get baby in and out of. So we went and looked at the car, and it was literally the exact one we wanted, which, you know, our Kia had a really hard time getting him in, and I think they've only gotten in like 3 so far, and they go quick. And the 2 before this one, I did not like the colors either on the outside or the inside. And so when we went to go see this one, I was like, you already know I'm out for the colors, because for that much money and that big of a commitment, and, you know, buying a brand new car like straight off the lot, and, you know, payments and stuff, you want it to be what you want. So I'm like, I'd rather just be patient and we'll just figure it out. If I have to, I'll drive our smaller car. But it ended up being 100% what we wanted. So that was definitely the best moment this week. Am I missing anything? Same thing. My sister was up and she was having a couple alcohol beverages, and I would have loved to have been able to have that. Same with like when we all went out to dinner and stuff, like a margarita would have been nice. But I'm not even much of a drinker, and that's what I find hilarious, is that knowing that I can't have it makes me want it more. Then once I am allowed to, I probably won't drink at all, because that happened last time too with my last pregnancy. Movements, I've already kind of went over that. She's still moving a good amount, but just not, excuse me, as much. That is a symptom. I should have mentioned that I get like these like burpy, heartburny burp things. Indigestion, I think, is actually what it's called. So that's a symptom that I forgot to mention in the beginning. Actually, no, that's coming up next. Food cravings, same thing. I am still loving Mexican food. And I eat, I didn't even think about this in the last video, but I eat sourdough toast like every single day, and so I would say that that's a craving. And sometimes I like crave avocado too with it, so that's definitely food cravings. Anything making me sick, like I said, just the raw meat. It smells rancid, so I'm having a really hard, like, I've already struggled with cooking this pregnancy, but now it's like the raw meat. Labor signs, no, just my normal Braxton Hicks. I do have real contractions as well. I'm really hoping that it doesn't lead to predominant labor like it did with my last child, because anybody has experienced predominant labor, you know how like taunting and horrible it is. And then you don't know, you feel like you're not gonna know when you actually go into labor. And considering that I've had a baby in an ambulance, I really don't like predominant labor, because I tend to like to wait to go to the hospital anyways. So yeah, symptoms, I already went over that. Belly button, in or out. Mine is in. I've never had an outie. I do think they're really cute though. Wearing my ring still, yes. And what am I looking forward to? Just this Thanksgiving holiday, we are just doing it here at home. I have some crafts that I have planned for my kiddos this coming week. And we're also going to be making our Saltville Christmas ornaments to pass out to people. And then after Thanksgiving, we set up for Christmas, and that's just a really fun time for us. And that's when my husband and I exchange our Christmas ornaments that we bought for each other. And his is so sweet and cute, and I'm so glad that I found it. It is such a special ornament, And I will be sharing that in an upcoming video of what I got my husband and then like his ornament. So that will be coming up. My kids are fighting. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Anyways, that concludes the questions. Now I'm gonna go over my birth plan. Okay, so in 2019, I had a C-section. I definitely don't feel like it was needed. I felt very pressured into it. And when I look back at like the reasoning that they said, it was very incorrect of what I was told. So it just didn't line up. I was just, because of the predominant labor and just everything at 39 weeks, going in for my appointment and her being like, oh, baby's not engaging, blah, 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 blah. He's too big. He was big. She wasn't wrong. But I think that my body would have been able to give birth to him. I really, truly do. And I definitely was always one of those people that trusted the doctors and stuff. But let's just say since then, since my recovery, since the big C, lockdown, everything, my views on things have definitely changed when it comes to the medical field. And I mean, I guess I would still say that I am in the medical field, even though I'm a stay-at-home mom now. If I was to go back to work, it would be in the medical field. So I just feel really betrayed in many ways. So this pregnancy, there is one OB in my whole entire area that does VBACs, and I am going to him. And I didn't even start going to him until like 27 weeks because I didn't know about him, and I was really hoping that my doctor would be on board for a VBAC, and they're like, nope, you can't even deliver at that hospital if you even want to try that. And so I was like, fine, I will go somewhere else. I was trying to find a midwife, essentially, because I really wanted to do a home birth. But the midwives in my area are not covered by my insurance because I've had a C-section. So I would have to pay out of pocket. And unfortunately, paying out of pocket, so typically for a midwife in my area, it's between $4,000 and $6,000. For someone who wants to do a VBAC at home, it is like $10,000 out of pocket, like no insurance cost. And so that just was not feasible when I have really good insurance and I could go elsewhere for medical stuff. So I found this OB and I really like him. He is so on board with me having a VBAC. I had 3 vaginal births and then a cesarean. He also felt like my cesareans, like my C-section, was not necessary. So he is totally on board with the VBAC. Now, here's where we run into some issues with the VBAC. I had weight loss surgery in November of 2020. I got pregnant 6 months post-op, which means that my baby has a higher chance of a growth restriction. And because I am not gaining weight, she is beautiful, like growing so well, but there's still that chance that she's going to just stop, or that my fluid will be really low, making it to where I might have to deliver sooner, like than 37 weeks or whatnot. And there's also this chance, because it's a VBAC, they don't like you to have VBACs with bigger babies, which is understandable. So if I would have never had a VBAC, if I would have never had a C-section with my 9-pound, 10-ounce baby, they would be comfortable with me having a 9-pounder baby again, a 9+ pound baby. But because of the weight loss surgery and the fact that Elizabeth is already really big, and if she continues growing and doesn't get the growth restriction, which honestly that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that she continues growing well, even if that means that I have to sacrifice the birth that I want. That's okay with me as long as she's healthy and growing, and I don't care if she's 10 pounds or whatever. So at this rate, as long as she is like in the 9-pound or less range, closer to when labor happens, then I will be able to have my VBAC. And if we have to deliver early, depending on if it's like 37 weeks early, he might let me try for an induction. So it just kind of depends. They don't really like to induce when you're trying for a VBAC, and I really didn't want to be induced. Like, I wanted to just go into labor naturally. So definitely if that happens, he said he'll give me like Cervidol and things like that first to really see if it will kick up, and do lots of walking and deep squats and things like that to try to get labor to start up without Pitocin. If I do have to have Pitocin, he would prefer me to have an epidural. So if I do not progress past a certain point, because I'm not sure my body responds to Pitocin, if I don't keep progressing I think he said as long as my waters aren't broke, I can do 48 hours. So he's giving me a pretty good time window. I believe that's what he said. And if my waters are broke, I have to deliver within 24. So he's not gonna break my waters until the end, like transition time, or like getting closer to transition, instead of typically when you get induced, they'll break you at like 4 centimeters, but he doesn't want to do that. So he would prefer me to get an epidural, so that way if I do have to go in for an emergency C-section, that I don't have to be put under, and I would prefer that too. In all honesty, he thinks that we should book a C-section for 39 weeks just to have it on the books, because they keep pushing back cesarean sections. And I think I am gonna go ahead and do that. I tend to have my babies around 38 to 39 weeks, so I really think if I feel like my body is prepping for labor, which I'm super in tune and I tend to know. So the morning of my cesarean last time, I was feeling like I was starting to go into labor, and she just completely discouraged me, like, he's not even engaged, he's too big, he's not in your pelvis at all, you know, all kinds of stuff. Now I know that can happen literally right before you give birth. I should have just trusted my body and not trusted the doctors. So this time around, I do feel comfortable with this doctor, and I feel like he's given me so many scenarios and so many answers that I do trust him. So he knows that the last thing that I want is a C-section. So we're gonna try our best to make that the last thing, unless Ellie needs to come like quickly or something, you know. Of course baby is going to come first in those ways. So really my birth plan is no birth plan, which is sometimes the better way to do it. When you have this idea in your head of how your birth is gonna go, you tend to actually have more birth trauma if it does not go that way. So to avoid that, I'm just kind of putting it into God's hands and knowing he knows my plan, he knows my heart, my doctor knows my plan, he knows my heart as well, and I feel like it's gonna be okay. And either way, Ellie's gonna be here either in, hopefully, if she's 37 weeks, it'd be after Christmas, or to possibly even my due date, January 17th. So, it's really just, we don't know. She is measuring quite a bit ahead. They were like, are you sure you were supposed to, like, January 17th? But that's like my far out date, you know. It's always a guessed date, and so I always go with the furthest out one, so that way I don't feel like pressured. Like, you know, towards the end you start counting down the clock, so if it's in my mind that it's the further out date, I handle it a lot better. But when you like say January 10th and then you go to the 17th, that's 7 days past due and blah blah blah. And so that's why I always pick the furthest out due date that I have ever calculated or come up with. So that is what I go off of. To them, they think that she is 2 weeks before that pretty much. So they're really thinking the end of December, early January. And I'm like, of course I hope end of December, because that's exciting. You always want your baby here sooner if that's the plan. So we are just, sorry, something came down. So we are just gonna go with the flow for this birth, either a C-section or a VBAC, and I have accepted either scenario. I am prepared for either one. I've already had a C-section. I know what it's like. The recovery sucks, but at the end of the day, as long as baby's safe, as long as mama's safe, I am good to go. So if you're pregnant, do you have like a birth plan? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. If you are pregnant right now, drop down below how far along you are and when you're due. It's always so exciting. My little baby's crying at the door, so I'm gonna go. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and I will catch up with you guys for my 32-week update. Bye.